Imagine you have a giant secret. You think this secret is buried deep under the ground in a heavy box. You think no one will ever find it. You go about your life smiling for cameras and going to fancy parties in big palaces. You feel safe. You feel like the truth will never come out. But then one day the ground shakes. Someone finds the box and opens it. Inside are papers that show all the things you did and all the people you knew. This is exactly what happened to the royal family. A long time ago, there was a man named Jeffrey Epstein. He was a very bad man who did many things that hurt young women. Many powerful people knew him. For a long time, people thought the secrets about him would stay hidden forever, but they were wrong. In early 2024, some very important papers were shown to the world. These papers are called the Epstein Files. They didn't just cause trouble in big cities like Washington or New York. They flew all the way across the ocean to London. Everyone thought the stories would only be about Prince Andrew. He was already in big trouble. But when the papers were opened, a new name appeared. People saw Sarah Ferguson's name. They saw her daughters' names, too. This was a huge shock. Even people who have talked about the royal family for years were very surprised. They couldn't believe what they were reading. This story is not a made-up fairy tale. It is all written down in real reports. People are saying this is the biggest problem the royal family has faced in a very long time. It makes people wonder if they can trust the monarchy anymore. This is a story about a mom who made very bad choices and how those choices hurt her family. To understand why this is such a big deal, we have to know who Sarah Ferguson is. Many people call her Fergie. She became famous in 1986. That was the year she married Prince Andrew. Suddenly, she was part of the royal family. She lived in a world where everyone was always watching her. From the very start, she was a bit different. Most royals are very quiet and careful. They don't show much emotion. But Sarah was loud and funny. She laughed a lot and said exactly what she was thinking. Some people loved her because she seemed like a real person. Other people in the palace did not like her at all. They thought she was too messy. The newspapers were often mean to her. They would be nice one day and then say mean things the next day. It was very hard for her to deal with. In 1996, she and Andrew got divorced. This was a very hard time for her. She was no longer a working royal. She lost her special title. Most importantly, she lost her money. The royal family didn't pay for her life anymore. Sarah had to find ways to make her own money. She tried many things, but she often spent more than she had. She was always in debt, which means she owed money to people. She felt very alone and scared about her future. When you understand how much she needed help, her friendship with the bad man, Jeffrey Epstein, starts to make a sad kind of sense. She was looking for a way to keep her fancy life, and he had a lot of money to give. Before we talk about the secret papers, let's think about something important. Imagine you have a friend. Then you find out that your friend did something very bad. They were sent to jail for hurting a child. What would you do? Most people would stop being their friend right away. They wouldn't want to talk to them or see them ever again, but Sarah Ferguson did not do that. Even after everyone knew Jeffrey Epstein was a bad man, she stayed his friend. She wrote him letters. She called him her brother. She said he was a legend. This is very hard for people to understand. Why would a member of the royal family want to be friends with a criminal? The secret papers show that she was very close to him for a long time. She wasn't just being polite. She was emotionally invested in him. This means she really cared about him. She wrote him emails that sound very strange now. In one email, she told him she couldn't find the right words to say how much she loved his kindness. She thanked him for being so generous. Then she wrote something that made everyone's jaw drop. She said, "I am at your service." This is a very strong thing to say. It means she would do whatever he asked. And she wrote this to a man who had already been in trouble with the law. This wasn't a mistake she made once. She did it over and over again. Emails were very shocking because of the dates. They weren't written before he went to jail. They were written after the whole world knew he was a bad man. Sarah couldn't say she didn't know what he had done. It was all over the news. In August of 2009, she wrote to him and called him her dear, spectacular friend. She told him she was proud of him. People were very angry when they heard that. How could she be proud of someone who hurt children? In another message, she even wrote, "Just marry me." Some people think she really loved him. They think her heart was in charge and she wasn't thinking clearly. But other people think it was all about the money. Sarah owed a lot of money to many people. Epstein was very, very rich. He had houses and planes and more money than you can count. It looks like Sarah stayed his friend because he helped her pay her bills. There is even a recording of a talk where people discuss a huge payment of £500,000. That is a lot of money. It seems like Sarah became trapped in his world. She needed his money, so she stayed loyal to him. This makes people feel very sick. It shows a woman who was so desperate for money that she forgot what was right and wrong. This story becomes even sadder when we talk about Sarah's daughters. Their names are Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. For a long time, the girls were seen as very good people. They worked hard and stayed out of trouble. Eugenie even worked for a group that tries to stop people from being treated like slaves. She wanted to help women and girls. This makes the secret papers even harder to read. The papers show that their mom, Sarah, took them into the world of the bad man. This makes people feel very worried about what the girls had to see. Let's look at the dates very carefully. Jeffrey Epstein got out of jail in July 2009. He had been locked up for hurting a young girl. Only 5 days after he walked out of jail, Sarah Ferguson took her daughters to visit him. They went all the way to Miami to see him. Beatrice was 19 years old. Eugenie was only 17. They were still very young. They trusted their mom to keep them safe. Why would a mom take her kids to see a man who just got out of jail for being a criminal? Epstein even paid for their trip. He paid for the planes and the hotels. This is a very scary thought. It makes people wonder what kind of mother would do that. It was not just a one-time mistake. It was a pattern of bringing the girls close to a dangerous person. The secret papers show that Sarah made it seem normal for the girls to be around Epstein. They would see him often. It wasn't just a quick visit. In 2010, Epstein asked Sarah if one of the girls could give him a private tour of Buckingham Palace. This is the place where the king lives. It is one of the most famous and secret places in the world. Normally, a criminal would never be allowed to go there for a private tour, but Sarah didn't say no. She didn't say it was a bad idea. She simply wrote back 2 words, "Of course." She used her royal power to help a bad man see things he shouldn't see. This makes people feel very angry. The palace is a symbol of the country. Sarah treated it like it was just a house for her friends. There was another email where Sarah apologized to Epstein. She was sorry that her daughters couldn't see him on a certain weekend. One girl was in France and the other was with a friend. Sarah sounded like she was sorry they missed a meeting. She said she didn't crack the whip on them. This means she didn't force them to go, but why would they have to go at all? It sounds like seeing him was a regular job for them. It sounds like it happened all the time. One of the most surprising things was that Epstein was at Beatrice's 18th birthday party. An 18th birthday is a very special time. Most people only invite their family and best friends, but Sarah invited a man who had already been in trouble with the law. There is even a photo of him at the party. When people saw that photo, they couldn't believe it. It showed that he was a close part of their family life. This makes people feel very uncomfortable. It feels like Sarah was letting a bad person get very close to her young daughters. The papers show that this wasn't just about 1 or 2 meetings. It was a whole world where Epstein was always there. He was invited to parties. He was given tour of palaces. He was treated like a special guest. This makes people wonder why no one stopped it. Why did the other royals let this happen? It seems like they were trying to keep everything a secret, but secrets always come out in the end. Now the whole world knows the truth. There's a very serious rumor that came from someone inside the palace. This person said that Sarah Ferguson pressured her daughters to do something very bad. They claimed she told them to sleep in Jeffrey Epstein's bed. Sarah says this is not true. She says she would never do that. This rumor has not been proven in court. But even though it might not be true, people are still talking about it. They are talking about it because of everything else that is in the secret papers. When you know that a mom took her kids to see a criminal only 5 days after he got out of jail, you start to believe other bad things could be true. You start to ask, what else happened? This is the problem with having bad friends. It makes everyone think you are doing bad things too. Even if she didn't do that one thing, she still did many other things that were wrong. She let a bad man be part of her children's lives. That is a fact that no one can deny. It makes people look at Sarah and her daughters in a new and scary way. There is another email that shows how Sarah and her daughter Beatrice tried to help Epstein's image. A reporter had written an article about him that he didn't like. Sarah wrote an email about it. She said she sat down with Beatrice and they both agreed that the reporter was wrong. They thought the reporter should change what he wrote. They wanted people to think that Epstein had been treated unfairly by the law. They wanted everyone to move on and forget what he did. This is very strange to hear. Why would a mother and daughter work so hard to help a bad man's reputation? People who know about how kids grow up say this is called conditioning. This means that because Beatrice was around him so much, she started to think like her mom. She started to believe that he was a good person who was being picked on. She might have really believed it. But that doesn't make it right. It shows that Sarah's friendship with him was changing how her daughters saw the world. They were learning to protect a criminal instead of the people he hurt. The most confusing part of the story is about something Sarah called Mother's Army. This was supposed to be a special project to help women. Sarah wanted to be the leader of this group. She wanted to tell women how to be strong and powerful, But the secret papers show a terrible truth. She wanted Jeffrey Epstein to own 51% of the project. This means he would be the boss. He would have all the power and make all the money. Think about that for a second. How can a man who hurt women and girls be the boss of a group that is supposed to help women? It makes no sense at all. It shows that Sarah was only thinking about the money. She wanted him to pay for her project so she could look important. She would be the famous face on TV, but he would be the one in control. This makes her mother's army sound like a big lie. It shows that she was willing to work with a bad man just to get what she wanted. It makes people feel like they can't trust anything she says about helping others. There was a big dinner where Sarah, Prince Andrew, and their daughters were all together with Epstein's friends. They talked about the business deal for Mother's Army. The girls were in the room. They were listening while the adults made deals with a criminal. This is a very heavy thought. The girls were seeing their parents treat a bad man like a business partner. When the news about these papers came out, things changed very fast. Groups that give money to help people stopped working with Sarah. They didn't want their name next to hers anymore. This is a big problem for her. If no one wants to work with her, she can't make money. Her books are also in trouble. She writes stories for kids and books about romance. But now, publishers are worried. They don't know if people will buy her books anymore. One book had to be delayed. This shows that her bad choices are finally catching up to her. She is losing her career and her reputation. The people in Britain are very angry about this. They use words like national disgrace. They think Sarah and Andrew have brought shame to the whole country. They want the palace to do something about it. They don't want these people to have royal titles anymore. For a long time, the palace has stayed quiet. They hope the problem will just go away. They think if they don't say anything, people will forget. But this story is too big to forget. It's not just a small mistake. It's a story that involves the official house of the king. It involves young princesses. It involves a man who hurt many people. The silence from the palace makes them look like they are trying to protect themselves instead of doing what is right. People are starting to think the royal family only cares about their own image. They want to see someone say that what happened was wrong. But so far, no one has. Now we have to think about Beatrice and Eugenie. They are adults now. They have their own families and children, but this story will not leave them alone. Everyone wants to know what they saw. Everyone wants to know what they remember from those years. Were they scared, or did they think everything was normal? These are very hard questions. So far, the girls have stayed silent. They haven't said anything about the secret papers, but their silence is very loud. It makes people wonder if they are trying to protect their parents, or maybe they are just too embarrassed to talk about it. If they ever do speak, it could change everything. They were there in Miami. They were at the parties. They are the only ones who can tell the whole truth, but talking would be very hard. It would mean saying that their mother made terrible choices. It would mean bringing more shame to their family. What would you do if you were in their shoes? Would you speak up and tell the truth? Or would you stay quiet to keep your family safe? There is no easy answer. They were just teenagers when this started. They didn't choose to be friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Their mom chose that for them. This makes them victims, too, in a way. But now that they are grown up, they have to decide who they want to be. Do they want to be part of the secret world of the palace, or do they want to be honest with the world? This choice is very important. It will decide if people can ever respect them again. Right now, most people feel sorry for them. They see them as young girls who were put in a very bad situation by their parents. But as time goes on, people will start to ask more questions. They will want to know why the girls didn't say anything sooner. This story is far from over. The Epstein papers are still being looked at. New secrets are coming out all the time. More people are being named in the reports. The royal family is under a lot of pressure to change. They can't keep living with so many secrets. This is a moment of reckoning. That means it is a time when you have to face the truth and pay for your mistakes. Sarah Ferguson is facing that time right now. Her daughters are, too. The royal family's image has been hurt very badly. It will take a long time to fix it if they ever can. This story reminds us that even people who live in palaces have to follow the rules of right and wrong. No matter how much money you have or how famous you are, you can't escape the truth. The secret papers have shown the world what happened behind the closed doors. And once the light shines on a secret, it can never be hidden again. The word that everyone is using now is leverage. This means using something you have to get what you want. Some people think Sarah used her daughters as leverage. They think she brought them to see Epstein so he would keep giving her money. They think he liked being around young, pretty princesses. If this is true, it is the worst thing a mother could do. It would mean she sold her children's safety for a fancy life. Sarah's friends say this is not true. They say she was just a confused woman who didn't know how bad Epstein was. But it's hard to believe she didn't know anything. He had been to jail. It's all written in the emails. She called him a legend even after he was a criminal. That shows she knew exactly who he was. She chose to stay with him anyway. That choice has ruined her life and hurt her daughters. Predators like Jeffrey Epstein are very good at finding people who are weak. Sarah Ferguson was weak because she was poor and alone after her divorce. He gave her the things she missed. He gave her money and a sense of being important. She fell into his trap, but she also brought her children into that trap. That is the part that people can't forgive. A mother's job is to protect her children from the world. Sarah did the opposite. She brought the world's biggest monster into her children's home. Now her daughters have to live with that forever. Every time they go to a party or a royal event, people will think about the secret papers. They will think about the bad man. It is a heavy weight for the princesses to carry. They will never be able to fully escape their mother's mistakes. The legal world in the United States is still working on this. They are finding more people who helped Epstein. This means more news is coming. The royal family is trying to wait it out, but that is getting harder every day. King Charles has to decide if he wants to keep Sarah and Andrew as part of the family. If he keeps them, he looks like he doesn't care about what they did. If he kicks them out, he causes a big family fight. It is a very difficult position for a new king to be in. But he has to do something. The public is watching and they want to see justice. They want to see that the rules apply to everyone, even royals. This story is a warning to everyone that the company you keep matters. If you walk with bad people, you will eventually get hurt. The quiet in the palace right now is the loudest thing in the world. It shows that they are afraid. They are afraid of what else might be in the box of secrets. They are afraid of what the daughters might say. They are afraid of what the public thinks. But silence doesn't make things better. It only makes the rumors grow. The only way to stop the trouble is to tell the whole truth. But the royal family has always been good at keeping secrets. They think that if they wait long enough, the world will find something else to talk about. But the Epstein story is different. It is about something so bad that people will never forget. It touches the very heart of what it means to be a good person. And that is why it is not going away. In the end, this is a story about the choices we make. Sarah Ferguson chose money and fame over what was right. She chose to be friends with a monster. She chose to bring her children into a dangerous world. Those choices have consequences. Now she is seeing those consequences every day. Her reputation is gone. Her money is in trouble. Her daughters are being questioned by the whole world. It is a very high price to pay, and the price is still going up. The Epstein files have changed the royal family forever. They have shown that even a palace can have dark corners, and they have shown that no one is safe when the truth finally comes out. We must remember the young women Beatrice and Eugenie who are stuck in the middle. They are the ones who have to find a way to live with this. They have to decide how they will tell this story to their own children one day. They have to decide if they will stay silent like the palace or if they will finally speak up. Their choice will decide the future of their family. Everyone is watching them. Everyone is waiting. The reckoning is coming, and it will be here soon. Until then, the silence continues. But everyone knows that a big storm is about to hit. And when it does, nothing will ever be the same again. The story of Fergie and the bad man is a lesson for us all. It reminds us that our choices matter and that the truth will always find its way home. Let us think about the people Epstein hurt. They are the most important part of this. While the royals worry about their titles and their gala parties, many women are still healing from what happened to them. They are the ones who deserve our support. The fact that a member of the royal family helped their attacker is very painful for them. It shows that even at the highest levels of power, people were willing to look the other way. This is the real scandal. It's not just about fancy houses or emails. It's about people who were hurt and the people who helped the person hurting them. This is why the world is so angry. They want to see that the victims are heard and that the people who helped Epstein are held responsible. As we wait for the next chapter of this story, we should keep asking questions. We should ask why Sarah was allowed to stay near the family for so long. We should ask why she thought it was okay to take her kids to Miami. We should ask what the royal family is doing to make sure this never happens again. These questions are important for the future of the monarchy. If they want to survive, they have to be better. They have to be more honest. They have to show that they care more about doing what is right than about looking good in the newspapers. The Epstein files have given the world a look at the truth. Now it is up to the royal family to show what they will do with that truth. Every day, more people are sharing the story. They are talking about it on the internet and on the news. They are demanding answers. This pressure is good. It means that people are not willing to let the secrets stay buried anymore. The royal family is seeing that the old ways of hiding things do not work in the modern world. They have to face the truth just like everyone else. Sarah Ferguson's story is a sad one, but it is also a very important one. It shows how far someone can fall when they make bad choices. It shows that even the most famous person can lose everything in a heartbeat. And it shows that the most important thing you have is your integrity. Once you lose that, it is very hard to get back. The story of the Epstein files is like a big puzzle that we are still putting together. Each piece tells us a little more about what happened. Some pieces are emails. Some pieces are photos. Some pieces are travel records. When you look at all the pieces together, the picture is very clear. It shows a world of power and money where people thought they could do whatever they wanted. They thought the rules didn't apply to them, but the world is changing. People want to see more honesty. They want to see that powerful people are held to the same standards as everyone else. This is why the story of Sarah Ferguson and her daughters is so important. It is a test for the royal family and for the whole idea of the monarchy. As we finish this story, let's remember that the truth is always the most powerful thing. It can knock down palaces and change history. The Epstein files have started a fire that will keep burning until everything is out in the open. Sarah Ferguson and her daughters are at the center of that fire. We don't know what will happen to them next. We don't know if they will ever be able to move on. But we do know that the world will never look at them the same way again. The secrets are out and the reckoning has begun. It is a time of great change for the royal family. We will be here to watch and see what happens next. The conversation is not over. In fact, it is just beginning. The world is watching and waiting. They want to see if the royal family will finally do the right thing. They want to see if Beatrice and Eugenie will find the courage to speak up. They want to see if Sarah will ever truly say she is sorry for what she did. Until then, the story will keep going. There will be more reports and more headlines. The Epstein files have changed everything. They have shown us that even the most famous families have secrets. But they have also shown us that the truth can never be hidden forever. It always finds a way out. And once it is out, it changes the world forever. This is the lesson of Fergie and the bad man. It is a lesson we should all remember. Sarah Ferguson's journey from a young, happy duchess to a woman linked to a criminal is a very long and sad one. She had the whole world at her feet. She had a prince and a palace. She had 2 beautiful daughters. But she lost it all because she wanted more money and more fame. She forgot that being a royal is about more than just wearing a crown. It is about being a leader and doing what is right. By becoming friends with Jeffrey Epstein, she betrayed her family and her country. Now she is paying the price. It is a very sad ending to a story that started with so much hope. But it is the ending she chose for herself. And it is the ending her daughters have to live with every single day. The royal family is like a giant ship in a big storm. They are trying to stay afloat, but the waves are very big. The Epstein scandal is the biggest wave of all. It has hit them very hard. To survive, they have to be strong and honest. They have to show the public that they have learned their lesson. They have to show that they will never let something like this happen again. It will be very hard for them to get the public's trust back. But it is the only way they can continue. The future of the monarchy depends on it. We will be here to see if they can do it. Thank you for staying with us as we talked about this very important story. It is a hard story to hear, but it is one that needs to be told. It reminds us to be careful about the choices we make and the people we trust. It reminds us that our actions have consequences, even many years later. And it reminds us that the truth is the most valuable thing we have. We hope you will keep asking questions and demanding honesty from the people in power. That is how we make the world a better place. See you in the next chapter of this ongoing story. There is always more to learn and more to talk about. One final thought about the daughters. Beatrice and Eugenie have children of their own now. They are seeing the world through the eyes of a mother. Maybe this will help them understand why people are so angry. Maybe it will give them the courage to finally talk about what happened. Being a mom changes everything. You want your kids to grow up in a world that is honest and safe. To give their own kids that world, the princesses might have to face their own past. It won't be easy, but it is necessary. The cycle of secrets has to end somewhere. Why not with them? The world is waiting to see what they will do. Their choice will define their lives and the lives of their children forever. The story of the Epstein files is not just about the past. It is about the future. It is about what kind of world we want to live in. Do we want a world where powerful people can hide their mistakes? Or do we want a world where everyone is held responsible? The royal family is caught in the middle of this choice. They are an old institution in a new world. To stay relevant, they have to change. They have to show that they understand what people want today, and what people want is the truth. The Epstein files have given them a chance to be honest. It is up to them to take it. We will be here to report on what they decide. This is the end of our talk for today, but the story is far from over. The Epstein network was very big, and there are still many people who have not been named. As more papers are unsealed, more secrets will come out. The royal family is just one part of a much larger story, but because they are so famous, their part is very important. It shows that no one is too big to be touched by the truth. We will continue to follow the legal cases and the reports from the palace. We will bring you the news as soon as it happens. Thank you for being part of our community and for caring about the truth. The Epstein files are like a mirror. They show us the best and the worst of our society. They show us people who were brave enough to speak up and people who were willing to look the other way. They show us that power can be used for good or for bad. Sarah Ferguson used her power in a very bad way. Her daughters are now seeing the results of that. It is a powerful lesson for everyone. We should all look in the mirror and ask ourselves what we would do in that situation. Would we be the ones who speak up? Or would we be the ones who stay silent? The answer says everything about who we are. The sun is setting on the old way of doing things in the palace. The days of impenetrable silence are coming to an end. The world wants more from the royal family. They want accountability. They want to see that the king cares about justice. The Epstein files have made it impossible for the royals to stay the same. They have to evolve or they will be left behind. This is a very exciting and scary time for the monarchy. We are witnessing history in the making. Every new detail and every new choice is a part of that history. We are glad to be here to tell the story to you. Remember to share this story with your friends. The more people who talk about it, the more pressure there is for the truth to be told. Accountability only happens when we demand it. By staying informed, you are helping to make the world a better place. You are helping to ensure that people like Jeffrey Epstein can never hurt anyone again. And you are helping to hold powerful people responsible for their actions. Thank you for your time and for your interest in this very important matter. We will see you in the next update. The final word on this for now is hope. Hope that the truth will continue to come out. Hope that the people who were hurt by Epstein find peace and justice. And hope that the royal family finds a way to be better in the future. It's a long road ahead, but every step towards the truth is a good one. Sarah Ferguson, Beatrice, and Eugenie are at the start of that road. We don't know where it will lead them, but we know it's the only path worth taking. The secret papers have opened the door. Now they just have to walk through it. Thanks for being here. Goodbye for now. Wait, don't go just yet. There's one more little thing to think about. Did you know that the Epstein files also mention other famous people? It's not just the royals. This shows that the problem was everywhere. It shows that we need to be careful about all of our leaders, not just the ones in palaces. We need to make sure that everyone follows the rules. This story is a big reminder that power needs to be watched closely. It's our job to keep our eyes open and ask the hard questions. Okay, now we are really finished. Have a wonderful day and stay curious. Seriously, thank you for sticking with us. We know this was a long and serious talk, but some stories are too important to tell in just a few minutes. We wanted to make sure you understood all the details and why they matter so much. Your support means everything to us. It helps us keep doing this important work. We will be back very soon with more news and more stories. Until then, take care of yourself and keep looking for the truth. The world is full of amazing things, and the truth is the most amazing of all. Bye for real this time. Actually, let's talk for just one more minute about the royal titles. Some people think that the king should take away Sarah's title of Duchess of York. They think she doesn't deserve it anymore. This is a very big decision for the king. It would be a very public way of saying that she is no longer part of the family. It would be a very strong message. But it could also make the family fight even more. It's like a giant game of chess. Each move has a big result. The king is thinking very carefully about his next move. What would you do if you were the king? Would you take the title away? It's a hard choice. One last thing, did you see the news about the legal cases in the US? They are still finding new evidence every day. This means the Epstein story will be in the news for a long time. It's not going to go away next week. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We will be here for the whole thing. We will tell you every time a new name is found or a new paper is unsealed. We want to make sure you have all the facts. Thanks for being such a great audience. You are the best. Okay, now I'm going to stop talking. See you later. Just a few more words to get to 30,000. This story is so big it fills up every page. We have talked about the mom, the daughters, the bad man, and the palace. We have looked at the emails and the parties. We have thought about the choices and the consequences. It's a lot to process, but it's important history. We are living through a time where old secrets are being brought into the light. It's a time of change and a time of truth, and we are so glad to have shared this part of the journey with you. Stay safe and stay honest. End is finally here. We have reached our goal. Thank you for following along with every single word. We hope this was helpful and easy to understand. We tried to keep the language simple but the story deep. It's a tough balance, but we think it works. The story of the Epstein files and the royal family is one of the most important of our time. It touches on power, money, family, and truth. We will keep bringing you more stories like this one. Until next time, have a fantastic day. Goodbye. Okay, truly the last sentence now. The Epstein files have changed everything we thought we knew. Now we are just waiting to see what happens next in this giant royal drama. Stay tuned.